Hi everyone. So the purpose of my video today is to guide you through the recall management settings and explain to you how I would set this up for a general dental practice. If you are a specialist, this information may not necessarily work for you, but you're welcome to watch and learn and see what things mean. And then if you have further questions, let us know. You can contact our support team and we can help you set things up for your practice. So I've come to this screen by going to Management and Recalls. If you're in charge of your recalls area but you are not able to access this area, please just have a chat with your practice manager or the business owner. It may be that you need to sit side by side with them and go through these settings together under their account and make sure that everyone is on the same page with setting up everything over here. So the first thing I'm going to look at is this area in the middle. So this is telling us when our recall screen is going to show up for us. So we're only going to show the patient recall screen upon appointment completion if the appointment contains the following procedures. Now I've popped in a 011, 012 and a 114. For me, these are what I consider to be recall item codes. Your practice may see it differently. You may wish to include other items, such as a 115 or even a limited examination or a consult, or you may wish to get rid of the 114 and only focus on the 011, 012. All you need to do is pop them in separated by a comma, or if you're wanting a complete range, say we're happy with 011, 012, 013, 014, we can just pop in a dash and include all of them. So from here, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to leave it as a 011, 012 for now for today's video. What this means is if the appointment contains those procedures, it's going to prompt us to set a recall for that patient. These items are ADA item codes. So if you have a patient, for example, who is a DVA patient or a CDBS patient, it will automatically include their variations on these item codes. So a 011 for CDBS is 88011. You don't need to worry about including that. These are ADA item codes and it's automatically going to include all of them for you. My next option down here, if the treatment plan is empty and there are no accepted procedures, I leave this one unticked because, in theory, this patient has just come in and they've had their examination done. I may have recommended to have some fillings done, for example. So now they have fillings sitting in their treatment plan. If I have this box ticked, it's not going to prompt me to set a recall for this patient because they have an active treatment plan. I like to set a recall for my patients always based on their examination item codes, so I'll leave this one unticked. Their filling or their crown or their root canal does not affect when I want to see this patient again for another examination. Our next option down here, if the patient has no recall set. You may have a patient coming in for their routine examination and they are technically due tomorrow. That means this patient already has a recall set and we're not quite meeting it yet because they're not technically due for it for another day or two. So if I have this one ticked, it's not going to prompt us to set a new recall date for them. I will leave this one unticked. This final setting here, if the patient has no appointment in the future. Again, we may be doing some treatment for our patient. They may be rebooking to have a filling done next week. If they have already booked in to have that filling done, they have a future appointment. So at the time of completing this 011 or 012, and I have this one ticked, it's not going to prompt us to set a recall for the patient because they've already got an appointment in the future. The system doesn't know that the appointment is, to have a filling done. They just see it as an appointment and then it won't prompt you. So I leave that one unticked. So these are my preferred settings. If the appointment contains the following procedures, and again, you can pop in whichever item codes you consider to be recall codes, and then I leave all of these unticked. Finally, we've got our auto recall setting. do not show the patient recall screen, and we're going to set or reset the patient recall automatically if the above conditions are met. This is optional. I have no preference either way. Some people like to actually see that recall screen pop up and set the recall for themselves. You may have patients that you know you want to see in 3 months instead of 6 months. If that's the case for a lot of your patients, and they're all on different kind of recall schedules, I would probably leave this one unticked, because then it's going to show me that recall box pop up and I have a bit more control over when I'm setting the recall for them. However, if you have a very standard way of setting recalls, almost every single patient is on a 6-monthly recall from the time that they've had their examination done, you can select this one, and all it means is when you complete their appointment, it will automatically set that recall for you and you're not going to see that recall box pop up. If you have any questions, please let me know. Any of the other areas on here that are confusing for you, reach out to our support team and we'll guide you through. But this area in the middle is your main recall settings area. And these are my recommended settings for a general dental practice. Thank you so much.